The United States and China are the two largest economies in the world, and they have been locked in a rivalry for several decades. As the world's dominant superpowers, their competition has significant implications for the global economy, trade, politics, and military power. The two nations are vastly different in terms of their political systems, economies, and cultures, but both possess significant power and influence in the world. This article aims to compare the relative strengths and weaknesses of China and the United States to determine which country is more powerful. Economic power. China and the United States are the two largest economies in the world, but their economic models and systems are fundamentally different. China has a state-controlled economy, while the United States operates a free market economy. China's economy has grown at an unprecedented rate over the past few decades, with an average annual growth rate of 9.5% between 1978 and 2018. The country's economic growth has been driven by its massive population, cheap labor, and government investment in infrastructure and technology. In contrast, the United States has a mature economy that has grown at a much slower rate over the past few decades, with an average annual growth rate of 2.3% between 2000 and 2019. China's GDP has been rapidly catching up to that of the United States. In 2020, China's GDP was $14.7 trillion, compared to the United States GDP of $21.4 trillion. However, the United States still has a higher GDP per capita, which means that the average American is richer than the average Chinese citizen. Moreover, the United States has a more diversified and resilient economy than China, with a higher level of technological innovation and a more developed financial sector. The United States is also the world's largest exporter of goods and services, while China is the world's largest exporter of goods only. In terms of international trade, the United States has a more significant trade deficit with China, which means that it imports more goods from China than it exports to China. Military power. China and the United States are both major military powers with massive defense budgets and modern military equipment. However, the United States has a more advanced and sophisticated military, with a vast network of military bases around the world. The United States spends more on defense than any other country in the world, with a defense budget of $778 billion in 2020. In contrast, China's defense budget was $179 billion in 2020, which is still the second largest in the world. The United States has a much larger Navy, Air Force, and Army than China, with a much more extensive network of military alliances and partnerships. China has been rapidly modernizing its military in recent years, with significant investments in new military technologies such as advanced fighter jets, hypersonic missiles, and aircraft carriers. China has also been expanding its military presence in the South China Sea, which has raised tensions with neighboring countries and the United States. China's military has been improving its ability to project power beyond its borders, with a growing number of military bases and ports in other countries, particularly in Africa and Asia. Political power. China and the United States have fundamentally different political systems, with China being a one-party communist state and the United States being a democratic republic. China's political system is centralized, with power concentrated in the hands of the Communist Party and its leadership. The United States political system is decentralized, with power distributed among multiple branches of government, including the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. China's political system allows it to make quick decisions and implement policies on a massive scale, which has been instrumental in driving its rapid economic growth. However, the lack of political freedom and human rights violations in China keep the Chinese government from fully exploiting its potential.